And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico, and I am the conservative guy on this show. And to my left, none other than Rob Ambrose, our token lefty. What do we do here? It's pretty simple. We talk about the news, but we do it in a different way than anybody else out there. We try to look at the news from a left versus right perspective and try to find common sense somewhere in the middle where we can agree. And when we don't, guess what? We debate it like regular adults are capable of doing. Because remember this, common sense has no political affiliations. Rob, what's going on, brother?
How's it going today, brother? How was your night last night? Busy?
Man, it's always busy. That's normal. It's part of the game, right? But you know, I've said this a few times this week. If you follow me online, you're seeing it by my videos. What I'm going to say is you look at my posts, you look at my videos. This is not a surprise. It's very hard for me to believe that we live in the world in which we live right now. Like there's something that I feel I'm missing something. Like, what the fuck am I missing here? Am I on crack? Like, I really feel, yesterday I was telling you to always be careful when you use the word I feel at the beginning of a sentence.
Yeah.
But this is how I feel. Like, this is 100% my opinion. This is just the way I'm seeing it. But it fucking seems like in movies, sometimes you have a crazy nut job sitting on the corner of a street with a sign, "The world is ending."
Oh, yeah. Is that you? Is that you?
This is how I feel. Like, I feel like that.
Repent.
No, forget religion. I really feel like that guy that's screaming into the void. And I'm like, hey, guys, like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, are you going to wake up to this shit? Like, how many times are we going to have to scream in your face to just tell you, like, wake the fuck up, something is happening, open your fucking eyes. And this is what the show's all about, right? This is, I'm going to put it right now. Hey. This, if you've been following us, or if it's your new show.
I got mine too, because you said it was going to be conspiracy heavy. So I wanted to make sure that
it's not conspiracy heavy, because I will be showing proof. I'm showing what politicians are saying, both on the Canadian side and the American side. And then I'm going to propose an explanation. And it's hard for me to not see something going on right now with the tariff war. And I'm air quoting this because it does not need to happen. Like, what we're calling it a war because we're turning it to a war. It does not need to be this way. So
what we discussed on Jason's show the other day.
Oh, we're talking. I have no problem.
I assume, and we'll get into that later.
Oh yeah. But basically, what I want to show people today is it that far-fetched to believe that all the tariffs that are going on right now, like because all the politicians right now outside of Maxime Bernier, like we've said before, are all saying the same thing now. They want reciprocal tariffs. And even a woman, and I'll show you this today, even Danielle Smith now is kind of changing her tune to what's going on. So it's hard for me to believe that a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago, Pierre Poilievre was kind of like, I had high hopes. Like 6 months ago, I was looking, even though I don't like, there's something that rubs me the wrong way about Poilievre. Like I showed in the show yesterday, it's not because I don't like someone that I can't support that person. If they're right, they're right. If they're wrong, they're wrong. However I feel about them. But now Poilievre is sounding like the Liberals. The NDP are sounding like the Liberals. Danielle Smith starting to talk like a Liberal. Doug Ford, that's a conservative, is starting to talk like a Liberal. I'm just like, okay, hold on. Like, what the fuck is happening? Where is every single politician aligning behind the same message right now, which people wouldn't have believed that 6 months ago? So it's hard for me to believe that there's not some type of conspiracy going on behind the scene. Like, there's not an agenda. And this is what I want to show people today is we're going to show you a bunch of videos. We're going to obviously comment on it, but a bunch of videos, a bunch of articles to bring you to, is it possible that the whole goal right now is go further down the communist road and implement some type of UBI, some type of universal basic income. Is that the plan? And see, hold on, like let me just show this. Like I'll show Prairie, and Prairie started by saying good day, and good day to you. But here's a great post. Oh boy, Smith did kind of shock me yesterday, and she did too. I have the videos and the articles to show it, but I was like, what the fuck's happening to you? Like, what the fuck am I missing here? Like, am I missing something? Am I on drugs? Because I don't take drugs, but I don't know. I don't understand what the fuck is going on right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, I see your point. Obviously, you know, viewers of the show will know that I'm sort of the less conspiratorial minded of us. That said, you know, what we did talk about on Jason's show, and we're going to get into that. You know, that's an interesting, when he brought that up, I thought that makes sense, and it seems like since then, some of the things that he said have sort of come to pass. So, I mean, it's certainly a valid conversation to have. I think it'll be an interesting one. I'm sort of happy for the show. I think, yeah, it's just, you know, sometimes you get we talk about the topics of the day, and some are like, yeah, okay, well, this show, yeah, we'll plow through it. But sometimes you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good show. It's gonna be exciting. So it gets you excited to. So I guess we'll go to the comments here.
But just as an FYI for the people out there, often I don't show Rob the videos. So Rob is kind of because I do so much research. Like I browse. Like yesterday, I was browsing X, and I'm just like, I have a calendar that I set myself the day after, and I just copy paste a bunch of links in it. Like I find something interesting, and like cling, cling, cling. So the day after, if there's nothing going on, yeah.
A lot
if
of
there's
times
nothing trending,
I'm seeing videos for the first time here on air with you guys.
And that's what I want to say is, you know, often because I drive the show in the back end, I'm kind of trying to, as I'm showing people this, I'm kind of trying to show it to you too, because my content has always been around trying to talk to the left and say, hey guys, like, just open your eyes, just open your mind. Just think about it. Tell me if that makes sense enough. If it doesn't make sense, that's great. So I love the way we do it, but just so you know, Rob, he knows what we're talking about. He has an idea of what we're talking about, but he hasn't seen the videos. I'm just letting you know. He's going to be as surprised as you guys. And to me, it's a great barometer.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah,
Steven,
exactly, right. So go ahead with the comments. I was just going to jump into the comments. You go ahead.
Okay. So Steven is saying 100% Canada is incapable of understanding that Trump is anything other than some evil demon.
So we know Steven's answer to the question of the day. Have we actually asked that yet? I think he's probably just reading that from the thumbnail, because I don't think we've asked it yet.
I asked it, but I'll ask it again. The question for you guys is easy. Does Canada have TDS? Is Canada affected by So, you know, Steven, I wouldn't say that he's not evil. I think that everybody's capable of being evil, but it is true that Canadians right now are not able to see him for a businessman that's trying to take care of his own country. Like they don't see, to them is evil, and that's the only explanation. Stephen again is saying that we don't have any form of populist movement because the last time we did, they had their assets frozen, the boot on their necks. But people think because the boot is covered in flowery inclusive language, it's not a boot, bro. Amen, brother. And I was part of that movement, but here you are, man. This is the whole point of the show, is to kind of attract people from both sides of the equation to say, hey guys, there might be something else going on here. And this is exactly the show today. Go ahead, man.
Stephen, so we have a uniparty like the UK. The PPC is called crazy because they're the one proper populist party. Yeah, I mean, certainly, even if you didn't buy into the uniparty thing before, the last few days might cause you to rethink some things. And you know, like we talked about the other day, like the fact that they're all lockstep on this, I'm trying to give them a benefit of the doubt here. Like maybe there's some data that they're privy to that tells them this is the right thing. If that's the case, then let's see it, right? Like I'm open to it. A lot of us are open to it. But if all it is just sort of thumping your chest, if it just is a dick measuring contest, we're going to lose, because I don't know if you look down in the shower next time you were showering next to America, but theirs is a lot bigger than ours, unfortunately. And if that's the contest that we get in, we're going to lose that one. So I kind of want to see why, where they're all coming from on this, why the rhetoric sounds like they're all speaking from the same teleprompter. And, you know, if you want to say that's the uniparty, I mean, that's a valid argument. But if nothing else, like it should be raising eyebrows.
And I think that's why he's saying a uniparty, and I agree. Like, this is what it looks like. If you look at it, it looks like there's a uniparty because they all sound the same. And it's not like, it's no longer just the NDP and the Liberal. It sounds like the Liberal, the NDP, the Democrats, the Green. Like, it seems that outside of and again, that's why we posted that reel yesterday about Maxime Bernier, about how if I was him, I would embrace the Trump train and I would fucking do everything I can to get, oh yeah, of course it does. Because anybody that's saying like Maxime Bernier or not, like Trump or not, what other speech are we getting right now? What other idea are we getting right now outside of that kind of uniparty? There's nobody with a different message outside of Maxime Bernier in Canada right now, because even Danielle Smith is changing her tune, like we're going to see today. So it's just very fucking weird. You know, I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart. So I see those things and I'm like, hey man, there's something going on. It's just, you know, I have a lot of videos for you guys. I have a video. I have about 9 of them just to put into context. And you tell me, like, I want to have your answer at the end, Rob, just like we did, you know, with Judith Curie on Monday.
Yep.
Like it kind of opened your horizon, like to say, oh shit, maybe there is a different, like, I'm not saying that you're becoming a conspiracy theorist, but you're open to listening to that argument. Same thing for your girlfriend, because you were saying that even her's a climate change believer. Like, I'm not trying to say that as an insult. I'm just, I don't know how else to she believes that humans are responsible for climate change. There you go.
Yep.
But yet you listen to somebody like Judith Curie and you're like, hold on here. So that's my point today, right? I just want to show all the videos and the articles and the comments that I find, and I'm like, here you go. Like, do what you want with it. But yeah.
And I think, you know, there's a ton of value in there. I think just as a rule, the left has just gotten so insular and so one-track mind that we just reject anything that makes us think. And I think that hurts us. I think, you know, having your ideas regularly challenged is how you sharpen them. It's how you strengthen them. And if you believe in what you say, if you really believe it, you're not going to shy away from that.
Agreed. So
here's
you want to read this?
Friend of the show. 5 years ago in Utah, the taxpayers decided to spend the money to fund homes for the homeless and found that they spent less than the government program. Maybe the math for UBI works that way. So hold on, I just want to make sure taxpayers decided to spend the money to fund homes for the homeless.
Yeah,
and they spent less than the government program, as in like it was a successful program. Like here's the thing is, obviously as a lefty / liberal, I'm going to be more open to social programs than say someone on the right or Nico. But that doesn't mean I'm just blindly rubber stamping everything. A, it's got to work. B, it has to be affordable. And C, it has to make a real difference, right? So I'm open to it. But UBI, I would not say that I am sold on yet. I think especially as AI starts to take, you know, if we find ourselves in a scenario where 40 years from now, almost all our jobs are being done by robots, there's going to have to be some version of something like that. And so maybe there's a space to have that discussion. But I know that the UBI experiments that have been tried, they're not promising.
They don't work.
It seems like it doesn't do anything. It just results in more drugs and more booze and more cigarettes for homeless people. And hey, don't get me wrong, I'm all for more drugs, more booze, more cigarettes. But I don't know that taxpayers should be funding it.
You know, this is not even what I argue. What I argue is the dependence of the people on the government. This is the part. This is why I'm against UBI. This is why I do not like. I want smaller governments, not bigger.
Yeah, and
I don't want governments
valid,
to.
Right?
I don't want governments to be involved in everyday life. I want them to fix the road, defend my country, make sure that we have good alliance with other countries. We got good export import. Outside of that, mind your own fucking business. I don't give a fuck. I don't need you to tell me what I can and cannot do. Mm-hmm. And you can clearly see during you know, in 2022 when they did CERN, not CERN, but CERB. That was not a good answer. Like, you don't get to close businesses and destroy people's lives and then, oh, look, we'll give you some money in exchange. And this is what happened. And this is what I don't agree with. And just like Stephen was saying earlier, when people like me went to Ottawa and said, yeah, fuck no, we're not standing for this shit. They sent the police, they froze people's assets. They literally censored they've been censoring conservative voices like mine for years, and that's what they did. So don't tell me that the government had good intentions. You can't tell me you have good intentions if I'm not allowed to debate you, if I'm not allowed to say, you know what, you're right, here's why you're right, let's have a conversation. You can't, anytime you want to censor people, you're wrong. You're wrong.
That's the history of it.
So,
Jason, sorry, he says,
yeah, go ahead. No, go for it.
TDS. Yeah, speaking only for America, TDS is not one-dimensional. It's severe on both ends of the political spectrum. You guys, as Canadians, have to approach this with the same level of fairness. Actually, I probably want a little bit more information on specifically what you mean by that, Jason. Unless Nico, you want to have a crack at it.
I have no clue what he's talking about because
yeah,
to me, the TDS is very one-dimensional on the left side.
We'll probably get into. We should probably get into our videos, but if you wanted to, Jason, just clarify that, and we'll address it there.
We'll take Steven's last comment, and then I'll attack you guys with the prediction video. Yeah. So I don't think that Trump wants us to be at any sort of an enemy. I think he wants to force us to the table because we are dangerously close to becoming just like the UK. Not wrong, and having that much. You know, hold on. I think it's more than that because I see where you're going, and technically we still report to the UK, so it does make sense that we're very close to them. But I think that right now, all he's trying to do is kind of take care of his country, and if that means putting tariffs, maybe reinvesting those tariffs into becoming most self-reliant in the US, like we've spoken about this many times, to me that makes sense. And we should do the same thing in Canada, right? We should deal with those tariffs, sit to the table with Trump, just like Zelensky did. He got spanked like a little boy. He went running to Europe.
What Zelensky did, though.
No, but all I'm saying is
I know
this is the perfect example. Now Trump is still open to that deal. So that's what we need to do, right? Is to just sit down at the table and just go meet with him and treat this as a business deal. Because at the end of the day, that's what Trump is. Trump is a businessman. So let's stop acting like children and let's just go see him and deal with it. Because at the end of the day, we are good for each other. We're like the little brother and they're our big brother, and we have to do what the big brother wants us to do sometimes, because guess what? He has more leverage than we do. So
just finish this up and then we'll get into the topics of the day. So Jason clarifies TDS on the other end are the people who think Trump can do no wrong. What do you guys think the ratio is compared to his? That's a great point. I actually agree with that. And just kind of briefly to go back to what Steven is saying, like I'm not quite sure. I think there's probably 40% chance that he's got, like, it's just what he says. He's worried about fentanyl or whatnot. And I'm sure that's part of it. I think there's also a good chance that he just wants to bring us to our knees economically. So we'll be basically have no choice but to join the United States as a 51st state. I think there's a possibility that that's what's going on too. I know he said as much to certain people behind the scenes. Who knows if that's true or not. But yeah, just to call, like, certainly in reference to what Jason's saying here, by no means, for sure, TDS can go on the other side, and we are not a
but
Trump.
It's not TDS.
We're not a Trump.
But it's not
yeah,
TDS.
If you don't want to call it that.
But it's not. Call it by the right word. MAGA. There's the MAGA cult that believe that Trump can do no wrong, and then you have the TDS. So the MAGA cult's on the right, the TDS is on the left. And you have people somewhere in the middle like us that's like, you know what, he's right about this, but he's wrong about that. I'm no MAGA cultist, and I don't have TDS either. I can see past that. But at the same time, to go back to what Stephen is saying is, you know, we just need to deal with it. At the end of the day, we need to deal with it. And just like you're saying, what's his end goal? He might just be doing the exact same thing that he did in Gaza, saying that he's going to take over and build a Trump Tower so that we just sit to the table. That's all. That's like right. The same thing. Because just look at what he did with Zelensky. He made him look like an idiot, but then he's still open to the deal. So this is just the way Trump is. And it seems that as much as he's driven by his ego, he likes to be praised for what he's done. He's not gonna stop a good business deal because you insulted him. This is why I've always been saying, like, guys, take your head out of your asses, put your egos aside, fly down to the fucking White House. If you have to knock at the door for 3 days, that's what you should be doing, because we're talking about implementing tariffs, like reciprocal tariffs that are going to destroy our fucking country. So here is, do you want to start with the videos?
Yeah,
because it's only going to be about that all day, right?
Let's get started. Just to briefly comment on what you just said, I think you hit the nail on the head there. At the end of the day, it makes for good conversation to discuss why he's doing what he's doing. It really doesn't matter. Like, the fact that what matters is that he's doing it, and we need to live in that reality and figure out how the fuck do we get out of it.
So the first video that kind of drove this whole episode today was a recommendation by you, Rob, but like you said, we should go grab the video and actually look at it again. But this comes from an interview that I recorded with a guy called Jason Lavigne, that I recorded with him almost 2 weeks ago. I think it was on the 26th of March, so almost 2 weeks ago. And he predicted something. He made a prediction about something that I will show you today to be true. And he also made another prediction. So I got 2 videos from our interview together where he's calling out what's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but as you'll see, fucking thing. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be 2 and 2. So here's the video with Jason Lavigne where he's explaining what's going on right now. And yes, the guy from
Not a chance. He's already made a deal with Singh. They've met. They made a deal.
By the way, just so you know, he's talking about Carney. He's talking about Mark Carney right now, because we were approaching the conversation. I don't know if you remember this, but when Trudeau kind of shut down government, they were saying that they would have a party leader. They would give a couple, like almost 3 months for the new party leader to be decided of the Liberal Party, which is going to be on Sunday on the 9th. And then at the end of the month, I think it was the 24th or the 26th, Parliament is reopening, and NDP, Conservative, and Liberals were going to have like an emergency, like kind of they would call an election right off the bat. So that's what I was talking about on the show, that's what they were saying, just to put context. And he's talking about what Mark Carney was going to do. And keep in mind, that's almost 2 weeks ago.
Not a chance. He's already made a deal with Singh. They've met. They made a deal. It's a relief package. The only thing that Singh would make a deal on is a very expensive relief package, because he's going to try and take care of the workers. He's already come out with that messaging. And the media is already starting to back up the NDP to change their messaging from calling an election to postponing an election, because the NDP itself, if it was a snap election, wouldn't do well, and they're not financially ready for one. So it's actually in the NDP and Liberals' best interest to prolong an election as long as they can. Now, here's my concern, Nico, is if they do a relief package and they start sending Canadians $2,000 a month and say, hey, it's because of our tariff war, we're going to help relieve you. Well, of course, we'll have to pay for that later. There's deficit spending and inflation later. But today, it feels good because that money's coming in. And then that's going to be the election issue. They're going to make that the election issue. Liberals and NDP will keep the money going. Conservatives and PPC will shut off the tap. They're going to make that the issue. And if Pierre falls for it, and that is the issue, he's going to lose. I think there would be enough time between now and October, if you're sending enough money to enough Canadians, that you're going to change their opinion. You're not Trudeau anymore, so that barrier is gone. You're a new guy, and there's going to be a lot of media supporting Carney. They're going to love him. And if you're...
And everything that he's saying right now, I'm going to show you the first part, how it happened. But what he's talking about right now, that the media is loving Carney, he's absolutely right. Just go check, just Google Mark Carney, and the media in Canada are fucking all out on him. They absolutely love the guy. So he was right about that too. Like I didn't do any, I don't have any videos or articles to show that. That's why I'm bringing it up. But yeah, he was absolutely right. Like Carney right now is seen as the savior of the Liberals, yet he was part of Justin Trudeau's team that fucking destroyed Canada. This is
Yeah.
the dumb, like, it blows my fucking mind, but this is still what's going on in the media right now. They're loving him.
And just in case you maybe didn't catch that or whatever, just to get you re-caught up to where we are in this video, what he's saying is basically the Liberals and the NDP are going to do whatever they can to push back the election so that they can push through some CERB-like program where essentially they're just going to declare emergency powers and start funneling money to the public. And he sees that as what the strategy is.
And here, and see, just to show this, I'm just going to show, and this was, like I said before, this was recorded 2 weeks ago. Here is a poll from, it is labeled as February 6th, so a month ago. So as Adi said that, look at that. That's how close we'd become. And remember, a month ago, they were campaigning. Like the people that Mark Carney and Krista Freeland are literally trying to become the next prime minister by leading the Liberals. So up to now, like he's bang on. Like he's absolutely right about what he's saying.
Well,
And
it also had the ring of truth
without
to it,
even
right?
filling
as he
out
was
a form,
explaining
there's
it.
money.
I was saying,
Was
as
that-
he's explaining it, I can remember listening to it as he was explaining it and just thinking, yeah, that actually that makes a lot of sense. That
Yep.
sounds like the kind of thing that they would do.
So, yeah, let's
A lot
continue.
of media supporting Carney. They're going to love him. And if you're receiving without even filling out a form, there's money in your bank account when you need to buy groceries. It's going to be hard to say, let's turn that off. I'm going to go in there and vote to take away that money. I think this is how they're going to take the election. And if they feel comfortable and confident enough that they've got that support, we'll see the election as soon as they believe they can win it. And it could be in a few months after he goes back in. But if the payments start, if there's a relief package where we're receiving money, the election's about 3 months after that, because I think that's how long it will take Canadians to start relying on those deposits so that they will vote to keep them. And
This is a prediction that hasn't come true or been proven to be false, but again, the video is not quite done, but this is another thing that would make so much sense, that they give enough time for people to get addicted to that, let's call it $2,000 like he's saying, and it's going to be easy for them to make this the election issue. Do we continue giving you money for free, or do we close the tap?
Mm-hmm.
that's
And
how
I
I think
No,
you can go
ahead.
from a party with like no support under Trudeau to winning an election again because you bought it. I think that's the route they're going, because that works for both NDP and Liberal. If there was a snap election in spring, both of them run the risk of not having party status after the election. They know that, we know that, everybody knows that. So they're going to do what they can to rebuild that reputation and buy an election.
So keep in mind, this video is from almost 2 weeks ago. From memory, it was recorded either on the 20th, I think it was on the 26th. Yeah. So almost, it's a week and a half, between a week and a half and 2 weeks ago. That was,
And
so
at
that
that
was
time,
Jason's, that
the
was
NDP
Jason's prediction.
Sorry, finish. Yeah, and
No,
at
no,
that
all
time,
I'm saying is, all I'm saying is he was calling that the Liberals under Mark Carney, that Mark Carney and Jagmeet Singh have already made a deal to buy off Canadians by giving them the equivalent of CERB under COVID, but now to kind of go after the tariff. Like, this is how they plan
essentially
on
they
fighting the
want the
tariffs.
tariff, right? So essentially they want the tariff because the tariff is the thing that allows them to declare the emergency. Yeah, so that's of course the tinfoil hat. That is where, let me grab that just because
Yep.
you know, for YouTube purposes. So that is the quote unquote conspiracy theory aspect of it. It's that our leaders, or the question is our leaders actually trying to avoid the tariffs, or are they, some of them, politicizing it, knowing that they'll be able to do? I'm not saying that is true or what I believe. I'm saying that's the theory. Now, that part is still in what you might call conspiracy territory. However, what is true is, as Jason said, it had the ring of truth. It had truthiness, if you might want to call it that.
Truthiness, is that even a
Truthiness.
word? Truthiness?
No, I think it's an invented
Making
word.
up shit.
Yeah. But if you remember correctly, a couple weeks ago when we heard it, Jagmeet was not at that time making noise about, delaying the election or anything like that. And that's why when you showed me that thing, I think it was just yesterday, where he's starting to talk about delaying the election, I thought of what Jason said, and I was like, interesting. How interesting.
So first video, so you have, he believes 2 weeks ago, he believed that there was a deal made between the Carney and Jagmeet Singh. Then he says that it's gonna become the election issue, because if they're allowed to actually put that in place and delay the election, put that in place, let Canadian live on it for 3 months and depend on it, then they're going to turn that into the election issue. And if Pierre Poilievre and the NDP, not the NDP, but the PPC say we don't want this anymore, this is going to cause a massive problem. And I have another video afterwards that I want to show you guys after one of his other predictions. But all to say, this is the video we just watched. Now, I want to show you what what is Mark Carney saying about this? So this is a post, when was it? March 3rd, so 2 days ago. 3 days ago. That was on Monday. Yeah, so that was on Monday. Basically, Mark Carney is saying that these tariffs are unjustified, direct attack on Canadian workers, families, and businesses. So obviously, he's saying that he wants to go on a dollar-to-dollar tariff war, which the proceeds, and this is the part we need to remember here, the proceeds from our tariffs should be used to protect our workers. What the fuck does that mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, what the fuck does that mean? He wants a dollar for dollar tariffs.
I hate the framing, as in the proceeds, as if it's a legitimate revenue generating mechanism. Like, that is not.
I'm gonna take your money and give a part back to you.
Yeah, you will generate revenues from tariffs. However,
thank you, overlords.
We're going to pay for that in the form of higher prices. And at the same time, it will also hurt. Now American companies might be less inclined to send their products north. Like, it's not like, whatever you feel about tariffs, they are not a revenue generating stream. That's not what you should. If you're using them as that, there's a problem.
But at the same time, we have to remember that governments do not create money; they print money and they tax money. Yes. That's all they do. They don't have revenue streams per se. They just tax fucking people. So that's the only way they can do it. But it's interesting again that he's saying that the proceed of that dollar for dollar tariff war with the US could be used to protect our workers.
What do you mean by this? Protect? Does he just mean give them money? Oh, you got an answer. Okay.
Oh, bro. This shit is stacked. I have 2 pages of text. So
this ain't your first rodeo, that's for sure.
I'm a thorough conspiracy theorist, bro. This is not the first time. So here's a video from Jagmeet Singh from, when was it? March 4th. So 2 days ago. And just listen to the framing of what he's saying.
Okay.
So
want to vote down the government at your earliest opportunity. Do you still stand by that statement, and do you think now is the time for an election?
Now is the time to put workers first. We're literally in a trade war. And I can't imagine any opposition leader that wouldn't want to support a package to help workers impacted by this. We did that during the pandemic. We came together. We need to have that same approach now. So my answer to that is, we need supports of workers first, put in place working, an election afterwards. And what's the plan?
So hold on. Let me re-put that in perspective for the people out there, and you tell me what you think after. Mark Carney said on March 3rd that we need to retaliate with dollar for dollar tariffs and to use the proceeds to protect our workers. Now you have Jagmeet Singh that a couple of months ago, not even a month ago, was saying that we need to have an election as soon as fucking possible. As soon as the parliament resumes at the end of March, we need to have an election. Now he's saying that we need to help our workers. Did you notice that they use the same word? Workers, workers. They didn't use citizens. They didn't use Canadians. They didn't use public, whatever. There's 1,000, probably not 1,000, but there's at least 20 words that they could have used, if not more. Both of them, one on March 3rd is saying we need to protect our workers. The day after on March 4th, one says that on March 3rd, Mark Carney. On March 4th, Jagmeet Singh says, well, you know what? We need to help our workers. So we need to give them money to protect them against those tariffs. What did Jason say 2 weeks ago? That the Liberal Party, Mark Carney, and Jagmeet Singh had already made a deal behind the scenes, that they both agreed to help
Canadians. I mean, I actually, as I'm watching
what
this,
do you
like,
think?
you know, like I am, as I said, the non-conspiracy minded person, but as I'm watching this, I had to look around to see if my dog took a shit somewhere, because it stinks. It's starting to stink. And I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I liked how Jason made that call when Jagmeet was still promising a quick election. So, I mean, some things had to happen for it to even make sense.
But he's in politics, right? Don't forget that, just so people know, Jason Lavigne is actually a like he's trying to get elected as a PPC member. So obviously he has access to behind the scene, and he's been doing journalist work for years. So obviously he has information that we probably don't. And Jason I've spoke to him a lot. He's a fucking clever guy. That dude ain't fucking stupid. Very researched, very intelligent, and he probably knows things that we don't.
Yes, I agree with that. So Prairie, that's a great point. I also heard him say Canadians don't want an election right now. What the fuck? What Canadian does not want an election? Like, regardless of where you stand, we have a lame duck prime minister. We're facing probably one of the more tumultuous times in recent memory. Yeah, we want an election. We want a leader, even if it happens to be Carney. We want someone elected. We don't want a lame duck. So this idea that Canadians don't want election is just nonsense, because as Canadians, I'm telling you that we do. It all had that very slick political feel to it, right? Where a couple days ago, it's like, oh, by the way, maybe we shouldn't have an election. Maybe we should focus on a package for helping workers, which is, of course, in lockstep with exactly what Jason said. And I think, the pieces are starting to fall together, but this whole theory makes what we're seeing right now from our leaders look completely different, right? If you're going to say that all these, like the response, reciprocal tariffs, if you genuinely believe that that's what is the right move, I don't agree with it, but like, that's one thing. But now, if there's something else going on, if they know it's not the right move, they're doing it because they want these tariffs. That's close to treason, right? Like, I don't know what the official definition of that word is, but like, that's got to be, you can't to do things that will explicitly harm Canadians. Like, what are we projected to lose? Up to 1.5 million jobs? That's going to be devastating for us. And that's, and I think when we talk about those kind of numbers, it's important not to get lost in the size of them. Ooh, 1 million people sounds like a lot. That's 1 million human beings, right? With jobs, with families, who are losing their jobs. Those people who can't pay their bills, can't pay their mortgages, who can't feed their kids. This is real human suffering. And if you're going to, and I'm not saying this is what they're doing, but if hypothetically they're out there playing these kind of games just so that they can shovel a couple $100 billion down our throats, to essentially buy an election, that is, I don't even know what the word for that is, but that's a serious problem.
But is it that far-fetched up to now
It isn't.
to believe that, because he predicted that part, and he has another prediction that I'm going to play afterwards, but let's address what Stephen. Hold on. Let's just address what Stephen said here. I think the annexation is his backup plan, talking to Trump and us
Yeah,
becoming the
maybe.
51st state. If our leadership is truly too corrupt and too far gone to negotiate with him, but I don't think it's actually his primary goal. And I agree with that. Like I fully understand, and you can go even further than that, because if you look, there's a lot of people that are saying, like, what was it, the Five Eye Association
yeah.
that we're part of, which is a basically security agencies
Like an
that we have.
intelligence sharing agreement.
Exactly. So intelligent agencies between Canada, US, and other countries that we're
Yeah.
kind of protecting each other, saying if we learn some shit, we're passing that along to our neighbors, to our other countries. And there were talk, I haven't seen an update on this, but there were talks that the US wants us out because they
Yes,
think that we're
because they don't
working
trust
as.
us.
But if you look over the past year or two, there's been a bunch of Chinese agents that have been caught in governments, being married to people in governments and high federal work, like very high up positioned government workers, and we're not making a great deal out of it. Like, our media is kind of brushing it under the rug, but this is fucked up. If we
Well,
have
yeah.
Chinese spies as part of the government, and now you're Trump and you're like, yeah,
How can they give us their secrets? Which much of it is going to be about China, right? Like much of it's going to be things that, because China is America's premier geopolitical adversary right now. So a lot of this information is going to be about China. So if they feel like we're sort of infiltrated at the highest levels, they're just not going to want to share with us. And yeah, that does sound like a conspiracy theory, but at the same time, it's completely plausible. Like, we know China is doing these things. There's no doubt that China is trying to infiltrate our government. All we're really debating is if they were able to be successful or not. So, I mean, to just completely dismiss it like, oh, it's just conspiracy, this is insane. China has been flexing their soft power muscles extremely hard over the last 10, 20 years. I mean, they're putting secret police stations within Canada, right? Like, there's Chinese police stations where they use to essentially keep control of their citizens, or Chinese Canadian citizens, while they're still here in Canada. That is an egregious violation of our sovereignty, to have a foreign power have, even if it's unofficial, still actual, unofficial police stations where they are asserting their national sovereignty on our soil. Like, we can't stand for that.
Prairie is saying this, and I have the post here as you were talking. I went to go see it, but she's basically saying that she saw a tweet somewhere yesterday from Trump saying that Trudeau was trying to do is stall this election. And I have it right here. The New York Post talked about it. It said that President Trump has accused Justin Trudeau of using the drama over tariffs to stay in power, following an explosive phone call with a Canadian Prime Minister, as the war of words between Washington and Ottawa heated up on yesterday. And so, yeah, I saw that tweet too. I know exactly the tweet you're talking about, and the New York Post is reporting on it. So obviously, unless we're smoking the same drugs, we both saw
And
this.
that sounds exactly like something, I guess, yeah, Trudeau would do, but really any politician would do. So many of these people are just no sort of values, no morals, no ethics,
No.
and they will do whatever. They're just power hungry, and that's not that implausible whatsoever. So, I mean, and it harms Canada, but really what we need to be pushing for is election as soon as possible.
To me, it only makes sense. But at the same time, man, as we continue going through this, what are really our fucking option at this point? Because this is the part that blows my mind. The more I look into this, the more they're all sounding the same. So what does it matter who you're electing? Like, at this point, does it really matter that much? Because they seem to all be saying the same thing with a different flavor, but they're still pretty much, their message has completely shifted into blaming the US as this big demon that's killing us. Yet the Liberal and the NDP have been destroying our economy for 9 years. This is not something that's happened over the past 6 weeks. That's been happening for 9 years under Trudeau. So stop this bullshit of blaming a monster, a boogeyman that doesn't exist, and take accountability. But we're talking about politicians, so obviously they're not going to.
Of course, they're
But
allergic to
here
it.
is another. I saw this post. I think it was yesterday on my feed on X, and a guy called Mark Nixon. I didn't know this guy. It popped up, but I know a lot of people that follow him. But Mark Nixon was saying that breaking news: Trudeau and NDP back indefinite EI payments instead of fixing the economy. 1 million job losses projected, and that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Half could be saved by not retaliating. Minimal losses if we cut carbon tax and interprovincial trade barriers. If we remove, also another thing that people don't seem to be talking about is the tariffs that we do have on American. Remember a couple of days ago we looked. The list that you see everywhere is not accurate, but it is true that
cheese
on
and dairy
and poultry, you're talking above 200% tariff. So technically, he's still right to say that we have tariffs on their products. But then, see, I did some research, and obviously, like I've told you before, you need to do your research. You can't just fucking. It's not because I agree with him that he's right. The only thing I could find about this is an article from Rebel News. So how accurate is that? I don't know, but this is the only thing I could find about what Mark Nixon was talking about, an article called Trudeau NDP back indefinite EI payments to counter trade war. I don't know. And he's showing basically this is the same video as I showed earlier of Jack saying. So I could not find a place where there was another source than Rebel News. Are they wrong? I don't know. Do I trust Rebel News? I don't really trust any mainstream, because right now they're considered mainstream media in Canada. So do I trust them? No. Does that mean they're wrong? No, but I couldn't find anything else than Mark Nixon, and he seemed to be referring to that article, although he's not mentioning it. So maybe it's like Jason, they have word behind the scene that we don't know. But the wording is very interesting. Indefinite EI payments. So we're not going to call it we're not going to call it universal basic.
Yeah, and they're not going to call it CERB or UBI. It's going to be something else. Yeah, absolutely.
So indefinite EI payments, I found that interesting because what did Mark Carney and Jagmeet Singh talk about? Workers. What do workers get if they get fired or they lose their job? EI. Indefinite EI payment. Workers, UBI.
And how much you want to bet it's going to be? Like, you don't have to have a minimum number of hours. So
just
basically,
like Jason was saying,
give
me your account number.
Quit their job. Yeah, people just going to
give me your account number.
Yeah, that's the thing is our leaders have done nothing to make the case that this would be beyond them. Right, like this fits to me.
Obviously not. Obviously not.
Well within. Well, and at the end of the day, that's just, even if you get away from the discussion of like if they're doing it on purpose or whatever, which is obviously a valid discussion and one we're going to keep talking about. Let's just for a second shift the perspective. What should we just be doing? Like, just what's the solutions? And we've talked a little bit about that, but to fund this program, to just give money away, is not the way to go. I don't think. I think if we're going to do deficit spending, which you're going to have to fund this program, we should be doing it to build up our infrastructure, put Canadians back to work, be building pipelines from out west to the east, make ourselves a government, an energy superpower, cut the fucking carbon tax. That's going up on April 2nd. That is not the time to do this right now. We can't take on everything. And even if you want to say, well, we'll put it back later. Okay, sure. But right now, fucking cut it. There's no reason this should be going forth on April 2nd. I think they should just get rid of it, but like at least pause it.
Oh, get rid of it altogether. Like,
I agree. I agree.
I should have saved it, but there was a bill, I believe, from somebody from Alberta. They were just showing you how much gas was. So you had about $60 of gas. You had about something along the lines of $100 or $75 of transport. So for the company to show up there, refuel you. So let's say $150 at most. The bill was 500 something.
All a different tax,
more than 300 of
that.
it. It's all, and I'm just like, this is
different names, though, right? Different names, and none of them said.
But they're all tax. They're all taxes. So a comment from Kami Hunger Games are here.
Or whatever.
Hey, hold on. I love your name, bro. I don't know if you're a woman, if you're a guy, but Kami Hunger Games are here. I fucking love it. Absolutely love it. But UBI would have to give seniors more money. It would have to give everybody.
Yeah.
money. But at the end of the day, who is funding this? Taxpayers. It's nonsensical, but it's the perfect way to buy an election. Like, it is very clever. As much as
It's very legal, right? It's a legal way to buy an election because the conservatives and certainly the PPC, they're going to have to oppose it. They have no option. I mean, if the
hold on.
conservative,
Hold that thought. Hold that thought, because the next video that I'm going to show about Jason, I have a few
Okay.
things I want to show you guys before, because there's a bunch of provinces in Canada that are coming out with their own answer to the tariffs, and I wanted to show that. I'm a lady. Cool. Perfect. Well, lady, you have a great name. I absolutely love your name. Prairie is saying that governments already has everybody's account 100%. You're absolutely right. They already have our account number.
if they want to do
and
it,
it's
it
like
could be log
direct
in.
deposit. Pow pow. Yep.
Do you
You're absolutely right.
swear? Do you swear that you've been affected by the tariffs? Click yes. About as effective of those porn sites where it's like, are you sure you're over 18? Yes. Okay, you're in. You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
Yeah,
not
literally.
keeping
Well, that's
anyone-
a good choice. That's a good choice of word. You've
analogy.
penetrated.
Yeah.
I thought I would show this video. I haven't seen this video. It just popped out on my feed from Justin Trudeau, supposedly, and the caption, I had to show it as we were talking. A misty-eyed Justin Trudeau said he has always put Canadian first as PM. So this is the thing. They're pushing the tariff war on us, and then they have the audacity to probably do exactly what I think he's going to be doing.
On a personal level, I've made sure that every single day in this office, I put Canadians first, that I have people's backs. And that's why I'm here to tell you all, we got you. Even in the very last days of this government, we will not let Canadians down today and long into the future.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, bro. This is what they're pushing. Like, this is what they're fucking pushing. Like, are you serious? Like, seriously, I'm gonna repost this right now before I forget, because this is. Don't forget, he's a drama teacher. Like, let's not forget.
No, for sure, for real, he is. For real, he is. I just like it. I just wish he would just leave. I mean, there's no place left for Justin Trudeau on the scene anymore. If he had any sort of patriotism, he'd call a fucking election, because I know that you were saying, like, what's the difference, but it does matter, right? People need to go and make their voice heard. And
100%.
even if it's Carney, we still need to know it. You know what I mean? Even if it's going to be the Liberals, it doesn't really matter at this point, but we are rudderless right now. We're just sort of flailing around in the dark. And everything they're doing does make it seem more likely that what Jason said is correct. And if that's the case, that's really, I mean, that's I guess disappointment's probably not the right word, because it's not really surprising, but you hate to see it, because this is just naked partisanship, putting their own political interests above the country. And I guess, why is that surprising in this day and age? But sometimes, it still is.
I responded to that. I'm just saying, you guys don't ever forget that he's a drama teacher, that he was raised with a silver spoon up his ass, because he comes from money.
Well, he'll be fine.
He never cared.
Right?
He never cared about you and I. All those politicians, Jackman Singh, that has the balls to say that we need to help the workers. You've been holding us hostage for the past 9 years, because you aligned with the government, with the Trudeau government, in order for you to get your pension. Now that you have your pension, as per, it was either end of February or beginning of March, now he has his pension. He does not give a fuck anymore. He's rich as shit. If you look at his net worth, people are saying anywhere from 10 million to 70 million. It's fucking insane.
How does that happen?
Doge, motherfucker. I want to have a Doge in Canada, but yet have you seen one politician right now that's talking about Doge? Not one. They're not going to push that idea. They don't want to be held responsible for. Explain to me how you're worth millions of dollars when you make 200 grand, 250 grand a year. Please explain that one to me, because Warren Buffett is curious too. He wants to know what your investment strategies are.
Either they are the literal best investors in the entire world, or There's something else going on,
Yeah.
and I think
Just
we
like
all
you
know
said,
it.
your dog took a shit somewhere and it
Yeah,
smells
yeah. Looking
like
around,
shit.
something's starting to stink.
So so right now we're talking federal level, right?
Mhm.
Now I got a bunch of videos about what seems to be happening on the provincial level, which, you look at provinces like Ontario, you look at provinces like Quebec, you look at provinces like Alberta. We do a lot of business with the US, right? And these
Mhm.
tariffs are not going to be good for anybody. But so I got 3 videos from Doug Ford. They're all very short, but I just want to remind people what Doug Ford said at the beginning of the week. Because again, this is messed up. Like, remember, we're in winter right now. This is what he had to say on, I believe it was Monday that he said this.
I'm going
Videos.
after absolutely everything. We keep the lights on to 1.5 million homes and manufacturing in New York, in Michigan, and in Minnesota. If he wants to destroy our economy and our families, I will shut down the electricity going down to the U.S. And I'm telling you, we will do it.
So he's basically saying that the Ontario province supplies electricity to 3 states in the U.S. From memory was New York State, Minnesota, and Michigan.
Mhm.
1.5 million homes/businesses, and he's ready to cut the power in the middle of winter in response to the air quote tariff wars. That's
Not
one.
smart. Not smart.
Nope, no. So that's one. Then let's listen to the second one.
They want to try to annihilate Ontario. I will do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face.
This is why I'm showing this
So-
video. Did you
So
hear what he just said? Like, with
yeah,
Cut
with
off
a
their
smile on his
energy,
face.
with a
It's
smile on my face.
I would say the
So,
first
and I'm-
video you showed, you could maybe say, oh, it's just something he said. He didn't mean it. But this clearly means that this is like, this is a strategy. And I don't understand why they're doing this. This is not smart. You're not going to be the chest thumping badass if you're going against America, because unfortunately, they've got a bigger stick than we do. They can hurt us so much more than we can hurt them. There's a time and a place for that kind of bravado, but this is neither the time nor the place for that if you're Canada.
Holy shit, hold on. Let's finish this video. There's just something that appeared on my X. I need to show this afterwards. This is
encouraging
like
every other
breaking
province
news.
to do the same. Quebec, Manitoba, BC. We all have to act in unison out east. They rely on our energy. They need to feel the pain. They want to come at us hard. We're going to come back twice as hard.
So he's basically, the first video, he's saying that he's going to cut off the power to 1.5 million houses/businesses. Now, not only is he saying that, but he said, I'm going to do it with a smile. And now he's encouraging other provinces to do the same.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that. Like, all it's going to take is one dead American who froze to death, and you can fucking forget ever getting rid of those tariffs for the next at least 4 years.
No, but hold on. Forget the tariffs. That could be taken as an act of war.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
It's
because
just-
you got to be careful who you're dealing with here. You're not dealing with the UK here. You're dealing with Donald Trump that seems to be pushing the America first everywhere. And we've spoken about this. And here's Commie Hunger Games are here
That's a great
saying
point. That's a great point, Tommy.
even Russia didn't turn off the light for EU,
Yeah.
who is warring against them. And you know what? In Quebec, even if you owe money to Hydro-Quebec, they cannot turn off your power during the winter. I'm pretty sure Ontario's the same. Prairie is saying that
Well,
Manitoba...
we got to retain our humanity too, right? Like we really like, both because it's the right thing to do, but just from a purely strategic perspective, we do not want this to turn personal. I mean, with the average American, like Donald Trump, honestly, I don't think anything's really personal for him. It's just deals and whatever.
I think
But like
so too,
yeah, the average American, if they start to see us as their enemy, that's not going to be good for us. That does not help us. And we can't lose our humanity here. Like it's a trade war. Let's keep it in perspective. It's going to hurt, but like at the end of the day, our leaders' goals should be first and foremost, the only thing we should be focused on is how do we get rid of the tariffs? It should be either thinking of ways to do that or actually executing that plan and doing it. This does not help us get closer to that goal. It helps us it pushes us further away from it. And that's why I don't like it. I have no problem with chest thumping, being a hard ass, being like, there's a time and a place for it, but we're not in that position right now. And I don't understand why our leaders seem to think that we are.
Here's a third one. There's another video I wanted to show from Doug Ford.
Today, LCBO, the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world, will begin removing U.S. products from its store shelves. And as the exclusive wholesaler, American brands will no longer be available in LCBO catalog, meaning other retailers, bars, and restaurants in the province will no longer be able to restock U.S. products. This is an enormous hit to the American producers. Every year, the LCBO sells nearly $1 billion worth of U.S. wine, beer, cider, seltzers, and spirits, including more than 3,600 products from 35 states. As of today, every single one of these products is off the shelves.
So before you give your opinion, I want to point this out. He didn't just say we will stop buying American goods. He's literally removing goods that
they've already paid for them. You know what I mean?
But the LCBO, for the people out there, for the Americans listening to this, this is government owned. This is not regular people that bought. It's not a business. This is taxpayers' money that was used to buy 100%. In Ontario, they have a monopoly, just like the SAQ in Quebec. They have a monopoly on expensive, on high level of alcohol.
Yeah.
So like spirits. But he's basically removing perfectly good
product
from the shelves right now,
we've
and
already
he's
paid for.
And the thing is, once again, he is tying the hands of every single private owned bar in Ontario by making it impossible for them to even purchase it anymore.
Well, because they most of them buy their products from the LCBO.
They don't have a choice.
Yeah,
you don't have a choice. You have to import through them. So now, not only is the government preventing private businesses from buying alcohol for their business, they're preventing regular people from buying alcohol that the government deems to be unacceptable to buy. So they have a monopoly, and now they're tying the hands of everybody. And you're going to tell me that this is not going to cause a skyrocketing price? Like, forget the tariffs. You don't think that's going to skyrocket the price of alcohol as a whole? You don't think that businesses are going to see that and they're like, hey, that means I can pretty much charge the price that I want? Because there's no way that we can produce there's a reason why we're buying this alcohol from the US, because we're not capable of fucking producing it ourselves. So you're trying to tell me that this is not going to cause the alcohol to go up in price? Like, are you fucking kidding me? This is why big government is bullshit, because now they're using their little feelings and their ego to destroy our economy. This is not necessary. This is products that we already have. So however you feel about the tariffs, those are already on the shelves. And you know what? It caused them. So now we have government employees that, instead of be selling alcohol that's already bought by taxpayers' money, they're spending their time removing it from the shelves. So it's just it's again, I feel like I'm living in a fucking dark Black Mirror video or episode, and I'm just like, are you guys fucking retarded? What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, so I actually don't have an issue with, people pushing Buy Canada. Like, if that's your take, I think it's you
no problem,
free to say it.
No
what
problem.
I do have an issue with is, like you said, removing products and removing choice from the consumer. If the consumer chooses not, and personally, if I go out there and I have the option between a Canadian product and an American, and they're both about the same, I'll go for the Canadian. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But what I don't want,
contrary, you should encourage
Yeah, that's just
I
normal.
would absolutely do the same. If it's from China, Canada, I'll buy the Canadian one.
Yeah,
If China against US, I'll buy the US one. Like, I'll encourage people that are closer to me. 100%, you should. That's your money. Do whatever the fuck you want with it.
Yep.
It's your cash.
But
man.
you either believe in free markets or you don't, right? And
Mhm.
I thought supposedly Doug Ford, as head of the Conservatives, is supposed to be a basic principle for a
Good
conservative,
point.
right?
Thank you for pointing that out, because I apologize to the American listeners. The guy you just heard is
Is a
he
conservative.
calls himself a conservative. That wasn't a liberal. That was a conservative, which I think this is a perfect time to show Stephen's comment where he's saying that I'm
Yeah,
wholly
I think it's
convinced that the CPC, the Conservative Party of Canada, is our equivalent of the US Rhinos. And for the people that don't know what US Rhino means, it's Republican in name only. So basically a liberal that is hiding in cheap's
cosplaying
clothing.
as a
Pierre Poliev. So no, but that's what we're seeing. Doug Ford is acting like a liberal. This
yeah,
is
it's
not
funny because
conservative.
I'm kind of surprised by Ford. I did sort of think I did peg him as an actual conservative. He's not
But
necessarily acting like
that's
one.
the name of his party.
He's not necessarily acting like one now. It's funny. Do you remember back, I don't know, 20 years ago when they used to be called the progressive conservatives? Then
Yeah.
they ditched that real quick. But yeah, clearly, as you know, as you've said several times here, for Americans listening, our conservative party on the spectrum would be moderate left in America for sure.
Yeah, it would be on the right side of left, but they're not in the middle. They're no, like, our conservative party is left of libertarian.
Yeah.
If that can give you an example. Like, they're not, us in Canada, libertarians are far right. So don't even think about Republicans. Like, our libertarians, like me, are considered fucking far right. So Prairie was saying about Doug Ford, the first video of Doug Ford saying where he would cut the power. Manitoba has to wait until it stays above freezing at night before they can cut you off, and that's
1
how it should be.
degree. See you,
And
Grandma.
she's saying that already paid for that booze. It's exactly my point. Like, however you want to, how, as much as I completely disagree with the tariff, it's not the right way to deal with them. This is bought alcohol. They're not telling you that you need to pay an extra 25. Like, no. This is on the shelves. It's ours. It's been bought. This is simple politics. This is not even business. And this is what bothers me about governments that are involved in business. They're trying to run a business like a fucking government entity. No wonder there's so much waste. We're spending so much money on dumb shit. He said that we buy like $1 billion. So are you telling me that right now you're going to scrap $200-300 million worth of alcohol because you're too much of a fucking retard to put your egos aside and try to make a deal? Like, are you kidding me? This is our money. It's not even yours.
Yeah. Give us a choice.
And look at this. Look at the size of Doug Ford. He ain't struggling to eat. Like, let's be honest here. So Prairie is saying, so we're all going to stop All American Sports Team 2 from selling any stuff. That's a good point. Any stuff up here. And we're going to remove that stuff from our shelves. Like, how far is it going to go? It's a very valid point. And, one of the things that bothered me about I think it was the second video I showed of Doug Ford, not only is he saying that that's what he's going to do, that he's going to do it with a smile to cut that power, but he's encouraging other provinces to follow suit. And you know what happened? It was yesterday. You know what happened? The next video is from the premier of Manitoba. And here is
I saw this.
And here is what he did.
It's a wonderful order. It's a beautiful order. This order is pulling American booze off the liquor mart shelves.
So I don't know, like, I'm just going to replay the beginning, and I just pay attention to the words that he used and try to see what he's doing right here, because he's not just talking right now. He's taking a dig at someone. So listen to what he's saying.
Okay, this order, it's a wonderful order. It's a beautiful order.
Yeah, beautiful order. Yeah, I noticed that. At least, man, bro, if you're not going to attempt to do the voice, don't even bother. What are you doing?
But
just
so
bigger picture, yeah. Why?
But it's not. But this is why it's such a political statement. Like, this is not even about money. This is not even about Canadians. This is about politicians beating their chest, trying to act tough and trying to be smart somehow. This is identity politics. They're insulting the strongest person, one of the most powerful men on the planet right now. He's taking a dig at him. So not only is he saying we're not going to sell your products anymore, but he's actually trying to imitate him in a way to ridicule him even more. This is the thing. Like, are you kidding me? Like, since when are we driven by people or represented by people that their egos are so fragile that they need to insult world leaders? Bro, you're the premier of Manitoba. Who the fuck cares about you? You're just a fucking idiot. Like, are you serious? You had 200 people vote for you?
Dude's
Like, no, but you're acting like you're all gangster and shit, and you're making fun of arguably the most powerful world leader. Like, are you serious? Like, is this what we are now?
I just think it's just so stupid from a strategic standpoint, and that's all we should be looking at these days. We should be looking at, does this help us get rid of the tariffs or not? And very clearly that does not. You have to understand Trump's personality. He doesn't give a shit. Like, he's got an ego and he takes shit personally. He'll fucking torch our entire country because some idiot in Manitoba made fun of him. Absolutely he will. And is that ridiculous and thin-skinned and petty? Yes, it is. But it's also the reality that we need to live in. It's like they're goading this guy to fucking come back and overreact and hit us even harder just so they can be like, oh, see, Trump, bad guy. Like, we need to live in fucking reality, right? The tone of this is all off. Like, yeah, the actual actions are off, like the reciprocal tariffs, but the tone is off. No, you don't necessarily need to, like, bend over and open for the guy, but like, you don't need to be antagonizing him. You don't, like, you have to understand who you're dealing with here. If there's and even if it's, we have to tiptoe around it a little bit because he's so thin-skinned. Yeah, that is ridiculous. Yes, sometimes he acts like a petulant child, but a petulant child with his hands on the most powerful nation in the world is a very, very dangerous thing. And I don't understand why these idiots don't seem to get that. It's like they still think that the old rules apply and they can just say whatever they want, and Donald Trump won't actually do anything to hurt them. Donald Trump will do whatever the fuck he wants, and all the norms and the tradition of, like, America sort of being restrained, at least when it comes to dealing with Canada. I'm sure the Iraqis or the Vietnamese or the Afghans would not agree with that, but in terms of Canadians, they have been remarkably restrained towards us for a very long time. And, it's like, you've used a little brother analogy. You can imagine, like, a 2-year-old going around and pulling his older brother's hair and picking at him. And the older brother might be like, oh yeah, whatever, he's 2 years old. But at some point, when we're 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, that's going to stop. He's going to stop indulging that, and he's going to hit us back. And I feel like we haven't sort of recognize that we're kind of in that spot right here now.
If you look at this is Bart Simpson burning one of his G.I. Joes using the sun in a magnifying glass. And this is what I see. Imagine that we are the little G.I. Joe there, and we're flipping Trump. Like, hey, fuck you, fuck you, and
fuck you, Trump, as we're melting. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it feels like. We're melting, but as long as we got our finger up with our last breath, then it's somehow a win. Like, grow the fuck up. Nobody cares about thumping your chest.
Before I show this next comment from Stevens, I need to put my hat on because I agree with him, but I will put my hat to tell people that this is not real YouTube. This is all conspiracy. But basically what Steven is saying, entertainment purposes. Yep. Does Schwab want the US to become a global pariah? Will he be paying Canada to make that happen? If we're going to destroy our country, I hope we're at last making a buck. And you know what? This is how I see it, because even on the left right now, and that has nothing to do with Canada. It's just as a whole on the left. Even, do you remember the video I showed yesterday of Stephen A. Smith when he was on The View? And I can't remember what the name of the white girl, the older white girl is. Like, she's like 80 years old or something. Joe Behar. So Joe
Behar, yeah.
Behar said something yesterday that pretty much aligns with what you're saying. We're making fun or we're insulting our friends worldwide. So it is true that if you listen to the narrative on the left, Trump is so evil that he's alienating the US from other countries. But at the same time, if your goal is to take care of your own first, that means you need to stop supporting others. You need to stop putting your money in foreign aid, bring it back to the US, bring it back to your own people, rebuild your economy, rebuild your middle class, put tariffs on others to equalize the field for your own people. So, you know, if you're going to try to take care of yourself, if you become selfish, guess what? You're going to piss off people that have been sucking on your titties.
Well, especially if they're used to being paid, right? And the thing is like, at the end of the day, America has the luxury of doing that. They have the luxury of pissing people off, right? That's one of the perks of the job when you're the biggest, baddest kid on the block, right? When you're the big swinging dick, you get to do whatever you want and you don't really have to worry about what other people think. That's not Canada. We don't have that luxury. We do need to worry about what people think, and especially what fucking America thinks, because like it or not, like Trump or not, they hold 99.999% of the cards right now, and we just have to play the game. And if you don't like it, you know what you do? You put pressure on your leaders to invest in our infrastructure and our economy, so that 5, 6, 7 years ago, we won't be at their whims anymore. Maybe we will be in a place where we can thump our chest a little bit, but we're not there now.
And we need to make sure that we can get there.
Yeah.
And we can only get there because that's another thing. If you look at all the politicians' messaging right now, it doesn't matter that it's Carney, Trudeau, or that it's Poliev. That's all they're saying. Let's become more self-reliant. Yeah, but hey, assholes, if you destroy the economy, we won't be able to make it there. Right now, we've said it multiple times, kiss the ring. You know what we mean by that. Do I think it's fair that we have to do that? No, I don't. But guess what? A lot of shit that happened in my life was not fair. That doesn't change the fact that they fucking happened and I had to deal with it. So this is no different.
Yeah. And when we say kiss the ring, we don't mean like bend over and open up. We just mean recognize where we are, recognize that we have no leverage.
We don't have the power.
Act accordingly.
100%. So Perry's saying that something's wrong with that guy Wob. Yeah, that's the leader. That's the premier of Manitoba. That goof with that permanent smirk on his face. But again, that's a woke smirk. And you know, I've seen that smirk many times from people that can't fight. They're very good at instigating. They're very good at insulting you, at trying to piss you off. But if I were to smack him in the face like a little bitch, he'd complain and call the cops. He'd complain and call the cops on me because I was violent. But he's doing everything possible to piss me off, to make me do it. This is what that smirk is. I've seen that smirk many times, and it always changes when you start getting punched in the face. Well, no, like everybody has a plan. Everybody has a
Mike
plan
Tyson,
until
right?
they get punched in the 100%, man.
It's a great quote. Everyone's got a plan on how to get punched in the face. Like an Iron Mike. Of course, I would never say that to his face.
Oh no, even his 50s, bro. He'll detach that head from your shoulders. But have you seen him move? He's still moving pretty solidly. So Jason is saying that's how free speech works, guys. I don't know about Canada, but our free speech is protected against government persecution. But that has nothing to do with free speech. Like, forget that part. He can say whatever the fuck he wants. I don't care. He can say whatever the fuck he wants. Probably Wob about the premier. Actually, this would apply for Doug Ford. This would apply for the premier of Manitoba. But the point, Jason, is not the fact that he can or cannot say. I don't really give a fuck that if he says it or not. What I'm saying is it's not fucking helping. You don't have leverage. You're just sounding like a fucking idiot that doesn't realize that you're antagonizing a bear that one day will say, fuck you, we're done, and guess what? We're going to pay for your stupidity. People did not elect you to destroy our fucking economy. We elected you to represent what we want, and we don't want to be at war with the Americans. I don't care which side of the political spectrum you sit on right now. Do you know somebody that wants that war? I don't. We all agree that we don't want that war, but we disagree on the way to handle it. All I'm saying is fucking comments like those, they're not only are they not necessary, but you're dealing with a guy that will respond to it and you're not gonna fucking like it. And you're secure. You have money, you have taxpayers' money shipped in your account every single month. So you don't have to worry about the consequences of this because you probably have a fucking pension. We do. You're fucking us, you fucking asshole. And that is the end. That is the point. Yes, he has the right to say it, but you're not representing us. You're representing your own fucking ego and your low emotions. And I guarantee you that if Trump was in your face, you wouldn't talk to him like that. You wouldn't.
No,
so
it's just
fuck, it drives me nuts, man.
Just the risk reward, like there's absolutely no benefit to behaving like that.
No.
And there's a ton of potential downside. It's just stupid all around. And beyond that, it's just I hate the optics of it. I hate the vibe. It's all off. People are scared. They don't care about your little jabs at Trump, right? Like that doesn't help us to get a laugh off at his expense. What would help us is getting rid of the fucking tariffs and doing things that are designed to get to that goal. And what these guys are doing now seems to be the opposite. And if you go back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, this, potential conspiracy theory, that makes all of this a billion times more infuriating. Because, I'll if someone just genuinely thinks they're doing the right thing and they fuck up, they make the wrong call. Okay, whatever. We're human. But if you know what you're doing and it's going to hurt a million Canadians or more. Well, it's going to hurt all Canadians, but it will possibly lose a million jobs. And you're fucking around with this just so that you can shovel more money out the door so you can get another 3 or 4 years for Mark Carney. Like it's disgusting. And to what you said about like the war, like no, Canadians don't want the war. Crucially, Americans don't want a war with us either. And it would be in our best interest to keep it that way.
It just, this is the part, and this is why we're talking about this so much and why it insults, why I'm so pissed off at this. This shit keeps me up at night. I don't think you guys realize what's coming. Like there's no good outcome from this. No matter what, like, you know what? Like, I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I will continue doing business with American clients. The money that I'm going to get, I'm going to concentrate on doing business with Americans. It's not going to affect me. I have an out. My wife and I can just fucking move to Italy where we won't have to worry about this shit. I'll sell products, I'll sell goods and services to Americans, and that'll be the end of it. At the end of the day, I have an out. But that all the people that I care about that are in Canada, they're fucked because they don't have the same out. Our family don't have the same out. This should be, it blows my mind that people are not taking this shit seriously. As much as Rob and I can laugh about it and make it kind of a joke because fuck, you have to be able to laugh sometimes, but this is not a fucking joke. This is literally gonna destroy
people's
our
lives.
economy. It will destroy 23% of Canadians right now. Forget the tariffs. Before the tariffs, 23% of Canadians cannot afford or are struggling to afford daily necessities like food, power, gas in their cars to go to work. You're adding a 25% tariff cost on basically all American products, plus on April 1st,
carbon tax. What they couldn't have picked a better.
Realize that they are going to kill Canadians. What they're putting in place will literally kill Canadians.
Oh yeah,
and people are treating that like
men will commit suicide.
It's okay.
Yeah. At least we got one in on Trump. At least we got a good. We got a good jab in on him.
You know, I haven't listened to this video, but I'm always like I've said multiple times, I'm always looking at new videos that are coming up just to make sure we're not missing something that just happened. Here's a video I just found, and I've seen it on a few places. I haven't listened to it, but this is about, if we read the caption, this is about a senior Canadian government source saying that Justin Trudeau is taking a hard line and told Trump that Canada won't drop the tariffs in exchange for a partial rollback of tariffs. It's all or nothing. And the guy is saying we either go back to our negotiated free trade agreement or we won't. So basically, Trudeau is doubling down on pumping his chest, and he does not want to negotiate with Trump. Let's listen to this. I haven't listened to it, but let's see what they say.
What I understand is the Americans had been proposing dropping some tariffs on Canada, or some tariffs if Canada had dropped its retaliation. According to a senior Canadian government source, the Prime Minister said no. He had said that Canada would only drop its retaliation if the U.S. dropped all of its tariffs. Then the U.S. proposed dropping some tariffs on USMCA compliant products, to which Canada had said that, okay, if that's going to be the case, Canada said it would be willing to delay the round 2 tariffs. Remember, Canada is going to introduce its retaliation in stages, that first initial tranche, and then a second tranche, much larger tranche, a second one. So if that did happen, if the U.S. proposed dropping those tariffs on those USMCA compliant, so we've got a trade deal. If there's trade going back and forth and it is compliant with the trade deal, that could get that sort of across the line. And apparently, what I'm told, according to a senior Canadian government source, that is what Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, and Dominic LeBlanc, the Canadian Finance Minister, are trying to iron out, but there's no word just yet back from the United States. The point that I know that we have been talking about this quite extensively on CBC News, the one thing that is clear, I'm told, is that Canada will not be dropping retaliation entirely unless the U.S. drops its tariffs
Once again, Canadians are trying to pump their chests with no leverage whatsoever, and now he's doubling down. And not only did he shut off, and that's another thing. Canadians don't forget that Parliament's been shut down by that same guy. So now, not only is he supposed to have, is he supposed to not be the leader anymore? Like, he's supposed to have resigned. He's making decisions that will affect everybody, whoever becomes the next prime minister when he has resigned. The only thing that the US did right when Kamala Harris took power is that fucking Biden disappeared. Like, did you notice when Kamala Harris became the front runner?
Well, I think he probably just got lost in the closet somewhere.
And they never found him again.
They never found him.
They weren't guiding him anymore. They were guiding. But you know what I mean? He outside of the pardons, which was total bullshit.
Ridiculous.
But you weren't hearing about him. You were just hearing about Kamala Harris. Now we're hearing about Trudeau day in, day out.
Why is he so active? I mean, you're literally
how is he allowed to take decisions on something that's going to affect us all once he's not there anymore? How the fuck is that possible? Well, not only are we going to get a non-elected prime minister that hasn't been elected by the people, because Mark Carney or Chrystia Freeland, that the next prime minister of Canada is going to be decided on Sunday, will not have been elected by you and I. I did not know until today, like until this election cycle, that this was even a thing in Canada. I gotta say, I was unaware of this. I did not realize that
Carney could become, whoever wins will become prime minister.
I mean, if they call in an emergency, like Carney has mentioned in the past, he could delay that to somewhere like end of 2026.
I think that's
because that's another thing. Yeah, and that's another thing that Americans don't know, is that in Canada we don't have a 4-year, like, it's not every 4 year on the single date. They can call an election. It has to be done within 4 years, but Trudeau's been elected, I think, 3 times in 9 years. Because you can call an election within that 4 year whenever you want, which is another thing that is absolutely preposterous.
Stupid.
If you have a guy that's leaving he's not prime minister anymore, we need to have a VP type of situation. Because in the US, if something happens to Donald Trump, you're going to have JD Vance that's going to become the president. And that's the point. That's why there's a VP, right? That's, if shit happens, there's somebody to take on that was part of the ticket, that was elected at the same time as Trump. Like JD Vance or not, at least people voted for him. We knew who it was. In Canada now, the prime minister is literally leaving, and we're going to end up with people that we have no fucking clue. Like, we didn't choose those people. They were chosen by fucking Trudeau as part of his insider government, but we didn't choose those people. We never voted for those guys. So this is, and you know what? Commie Hunger Games are here is absolutely right. They're going to go full dictatorship, and this is exactly what I'm seeing. We're going to have a non-elected prime minister that's already seemed that he made a deal with the NDP in order to start pushing some type of indefinite EI worker plan in order to fight the war on tariff that they're creating.
That Trudeau could have de-escalated, and he chose not to. Like, given what we talked about at the beginning of the show, let's just hypothetically imagine that is the case. That makes all of this look so much different now, because I didn't quite hear what she said at the beginning of that clip, but if you caught that, what they offered to remove some of the tariffs if we just didn't retaliate. So why would you choose not to do that? Like, yes, getting rid of the tariffs should be your primary goal, but if that means you only get rid of a little bit for now, then that's what you do. And I mean, even if you want, you can say, if you want to slap on retaliatory tariffs later, who knows, maybe, whatever. I don't think you should, but at least do something to relieve the pain a little bit, because right now it just seems like you almost want this to happen, which, again, considering what we're talking about at the beginning of the show, is maybe true. Maybe it is what they want.
There's one more video I wanted to show, because she was somebody that I publicly support. Like, I've spoken about Daniel Smith in the past.
Oh yes,
how I actually liked her, and Prairie at the beginning said that she was very surprised by what Daniel Smith said yesterday. And correct me if I'm wrong, Prairie, if this is what you're referring to, but I believe that it is. So let's check this video. It's like 15 seconds long.
Second, no further purchases of U.S. alcohol or new VLTs will be permitted through the AGLC until further notice. We'll just have to drink a bit more BC wine and Alberta craft beer and spirits, and that's just fine with us. Third.
So I don't like that tone. Like,
No.
What was that tone? Why are we laughing at this right now? Like, I don't understand that. What's funny about this? I don't get it. And I'm a fan of Daniel Smith. This is really one of the first times that I'm listening to her, and I'm like, hey, how about you shut the fuck up? You have no idea what you're saying. Like, again, we're talking about this like this is not going to impact Canadians directly and lose their jobs, increase our costs that are already stupidly high. Like, we're literally addressing that like it's a fucking joke. We're sitting at the table playing cards on a Friday night with a drink, and we're just teasing your bro that's sitting there. Donald Trump ain't your bro.
No. And like everything we're doing, all of our leaders, it's just reactive. It's reacting to what the Americans do, trying to hit them back. Like, let's have something proactive. Why aren't you down there? Why isn't there a lineup of fucking Canadian leaders outside the White House, waiting their turn, knocking on the door? Hey, Don, are you in? You know what I mean? Bang on the door. Do whatever you have to do. Like, he's a businessman, right? Like him or hate him, there's a deal that can be cut. I believe there's a deal. Now, maybe he just has it in his mind that there's nothing that can be done, and okay, but like, try at least fucking try.
No further purchases.
Oh, sorry, man. I did not mean to do that. But but you're absolutely right. Like, this is what I'm not getting. And I think you and I are on the same page. And question for you guys, like, this is why the question of the day was, does Canada have TDS? Because this is what it seems like. It seems like we're vilifying Trump like he's this big monster trying to destroy us, when we're literally pissing him off, we're poking him. And then when he does do something that's going to be extreme, because Trump does tend to do that, we're going to play the victim. Like, it's not going to be our fault. And this is all I'm seeing. I'm really seeing children poking the bigger kid, not thinking that there's going to be something, like there's going to be a consequence to their actions. And maybe that worked in the past with a Biden. That fucking does not work with Trump. We've said this so many times. You've said this so many times. Yeah. But there was an article. This is about Daniel Smith again. And she was saying, here's the joke. We'll just have to drink a bit more BC wine and Alberta beer. But there was another one that there was a part she was talking about how not only, there you go, this is the one. So Smith said that effectively, immediately, Alberta will direct provincial entities to stop procuring goods and services from companies based in the US.
Yeah.
The province's liquor store and casinos will be barred from purchasing American alcohol and gaming machines. So similar to what Doug Ford is talking about. And Alberta will assist grocers and retailers in labeling Canadian products and ask them to voluntarily keep American goods off their shelves. I don't live in Alberta. I've never lived there. And that's the next thing I was going to go check. And Prairie, I believe the way you talk, you live in Alberta. It sounds, from the sound of that, it seems that unlike LCBO in Ontario, grocers, like private businesses, are capable of buying and selling alcohol, because all it said is that she will ask voluntarily to keep it off their shelves. So, oh, you're from Manitoba. Sorry, Perry. So voluntarily makes me believe that it's not, she can't force them, but she can highly suggest it. Again, why are governments trying to get involved in private people's business?
Well,
again,
yeah,
I don't like big governments and even Daniel Smith. I was a fan of Daniel Smith, and now I'm just like, what the fuck? What am I missing here? There's a message that's being pushed by every single people out there. Every single party politician, party leader in Canada seems to be saying the same thing. Different words, but the messaging is the same. It doesn't even matter that they're liberal, NDP, conservative, provincial conservative, federal conservative. They're all seem to be saying the same thing. And then on the federal level, to go back to the absolute beginning, it was saying that, you remember, we're talking about UBI, we're talking about implementing a universal base income. So I don't see how this is a conspiracy anymore. If you've seen all the videos we showed you today, like, why? Like, even Trudeau said that he's not going to go back to the table. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but this is something that came out yesterday, and that's probably what the video I showed about the girl, you couldn't understand what she said at the beginning, like, because one of the things that came out yesterday is because of Detroit. So there are Detroit car manufacturers that actually went to Trump and to complain about the tariffs, the 25% tariffs on the car imports. Trump has agreed to delay those 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico. So Trump is negotiating. Like, this is the thing that blows my mind. He's not saying never, let's not. Even if he did, clearly there are people in Detroit that were able to get his ear and say, hey, bro, you can't do that right now. You're going to kill us.
Yeah.
So there's open for negotiation. This is the thing. This is what proves. But yet it's like, we just saw a video from Trudeau saying that he doesn't want to negotiate anymore. It's done. Are you fucking kidding me? The door is open there. Just fucking go down there and do your job.
Yep, I agree. I think, I clearly that shows that there is. I think I read somewhere that it was the big three, the car companies from Detroit that put pressure on them. So there are reasons why America might want to do away with these things too. They do hurt America. So that's that's good. That does give us somewhat of a card to play, but you don't play that card by antagonizing them, by telling them you're going to cut their power off, by making fun of Donald Trump while you're getting hardy hars with all your buddies. You do it behind the scenes. You go to the companies that can put pressure on him that he's going to listen to, and you encourage them. And so that, because with Trump, how his personality works, he's not going to do anything if it makes him look bad. You need to give him a way to come out of it looking like a winner. And it's stupid.
Small wins, bro.
Yeah, but that's reality. That's just reality. That's just the reality on the ground, and we have to deal with that. So it does not help your case to go out there and make fun of the guy in public, because he isn't like any other politician or American politician who maybe might is not going to engage in policy through like their personal feelings, But the fact that he does just means, you can complain about it all you want, but it's like complaining about the wind or the rain. Like, it's going to happen no matter what you'd say about it.
It's not even complaining about the wind, is you're peeing against
the
the
wind.
wind, and you're
Yeah.
complaining that you have
you're
pee on
that
yourself.
you're getting pissed all over. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So rather than just fucking do that, why not just piss into the wind in the direction that isn't going to get pissed on you in the first place? I mean,
you don't think that Canadian
sense.
companies, you don't think that Canadian and Mexican companies did not call their contacts in Detroit and say, hey,
For
bro,
sure. Absolutely.
But why are we not doing this? You like Doug Ford in another interview was bragging about how a lot of the alcohol that they import is from Kentucky, and he knows the guy from Kentucky. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the bourbon in the US is made in Kentucky.
Yeah,
he was bragging about this, how he's going to hurt them. Why not just simply get on a plane, get your fat ass on a plane, go down to Kentucky, sit down with the contact that you have him contact his congressman, his senator, and go sit with Trump to say,
it's
hey,
so
man,
easy,
is there
right?
something that
It's so easy.
This is the thing. Clearly, Justin Trudeau's not interested to do it on the federal level. Awesome. Big boys don't want to play the big game. No problem. What can you do as somebody that represents us?
Yeah.
Put your big boy pants on and try your contacts. That's what you do.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated.
That's
really not that
That's the
complicated.
play. Look, we have interests that are aligned. You know, these tariffs hurt us, but they hurt you too. Let's go to Trump and talk about it. Let's give him let's offer him this concession. Give him a win that he can hang his hat on. That's how you do it. That's leadership. Not making fun of the guy.
No, I agree. Let's see. It's a commie Hunger Games. I can't copy paste this, so I'm not able to. Unfortunately,
try to summarize it in a comment because the links don't work for us here.
Yeah, I'm not able to see it. I can see it, but I can't click on it. Obviously, beef of a bun. Hey, what's going on, brother? He's saying that being on EI sucks. I don't enjoy it. My job was directly affected by carbon taxes and lack of construction and expansion. So you're probably in Alberta, right? Anyone who actually wants to be on EI is mentally ill. It's meant as a last resort. Trudeau derangement syndrome is what ails me. You know, I can see somebody on EI that needs it in between jobs, or he's building a business, bro.
There's value in it.
No, I can see the value. It's when you're not only abusing it, but like we were saying earlier about having the Liberals and the NDP trying to put people on there, like, hey, we're going to make sure you lose your job and you can't. No, but we're going to make sure to create the problem, and then we're going to sell you the solution. This is Big Pharma 101 right there. We'll make sure you're sick so that we can sell you a pill, even though we could cure you. We don't want to really do that because that's not good for business.
Where's the money in the cure, right?
This is what I'm seeing.
Treatment.
This is exactly what I'm seeing.
Treatment. Well, and it's, we've talked a little bit about like social programs. And one thing we definitely both agree on is that they should always be temporary, right? And that's why EI, broadly speaking, I actually, I think I have no problems with it.
It could happen.
It's designed to be temporary.
100%.
But now they're going to make even EI indefinite. And now that completely changes it. Now it's just people are just going to sit on there forever. And that obviously is that's not in Canada's best interest.
So I believe that beef of a bun is either agreeing with the fact that he's from Alberta, or he's agreeing with the fact that EI is temporary, or that EI can be used for good things, or he agrees with everything. I'm going to assume that you agree with everything that I say, so thank you.
At all times, yes.
Exactly. You never disagree because I'm always right.
Yes.
There's one more video I wanted to play. There was a second video that I recorded that I took from Jason's interview, Jason Leving, when he was on my show 2 weeks ago. And this is how I want to finish the show, because I want to show some things from Pierre Poilievre afterwards.
Okay.
But this is what he was saying the next step. So he pretty much showed us that he was pretty bang on when it comes to the worker package, UBI, however the fuck you want to call it, the deal that had been made between the new Liberals, Mark Carney, and the NDP, Jagmeet Singh. He said they're going to delay the election. He told that on the podcast. He's bang on because the NDP changed their tune, as you saw in the video earlier. Now he's going to say how this is going to affect Pierre Poilievre's chances of getting elected. And motherfucker, Jason, look at this.
Carney's going to come in. He's going to make a deal with Singh. They're going to do a lot of spending. They're going to call it relief spending. They're going to be attacking Trump, but they're going to be giving Canadians a bunch of money. And this is going to be the big moment for Pierre. Is Pierre going to stand up and say, we need to stop that spending? Or is he going to agree with it? If he agrees with the spending, because the polls are going to tell him Canadians want the money. So if he's looking at the polls, he's going to possibly agree with a reform or a relief package. Maybe he'll say, don't give $2,000 a month, give $1,500. The Conservatives will be more conservative and give you less. If he does that and he agrees to deficit spending, that might be enough to split the Conservative Party. But if he does the right thing and he opposes it, he loses the election because Canadians are going to keep that dollar coming in versus voting for him. So Pierre's going to be put into a very, very, very difficult situation where damned if he does and damned if he don't. One of them could split the CPC party if he does it, and the other one, they could lose the election. So I'm curious on how they're going to handle that.
Well, I mean, I mean, so far he looks like fucking, what's that guy's name? Nostradamus. Yeah, he looks like our very own Nostradamus. You know, in my opinion, he made a pretty coherent prediction. He explained the mechanism, and then he said what it will look like when they start to do it. And so far, it looks like everything he said was right. Now, will it continue going that way and get to that conclusion? I don't know. But I think even just sort of us bringing it up there, putting the bug in people's minds, that kind of stuff, there's a lot of value in that, because now this kind of stuff works best when no one's really aware of it, right? When you have people looking at it and seeing it and talking about it, all of a sudden it goes to shit. And so just to be sort of have, like I said, I don't necessarily think that's what's going on, but it's plausible. Jason made a coherent case, and so far, some of the actions by some of these players suggest it. So it's a valid argument, and it's worth paying attention to and taking seriously. And also,
I wanted to hold on. I wanted to show something, and this is a post from.
Is that the thing from Tommy? Oh, okay, sorry.
No, this is from Pierre Poilievre. From yesterday morning, he posted this. So that's why I wanted to show you Jason's video first.
Yeah.
And now you look at this, right? Because he's saying they're going to use the tariffs in order to push some type of UBI. And then Pierre Poilievre is fucked if he does agree with it, and he's fucked if he doesn't. But tell me, listen to check this out.
I saw that. I saw that.
And businesses.
Like,
so now we're already, like what Jason is saying, he's basically, because so for the people that are just listening to this, it's a post from Pierre Poilievre that he made yesterday. He basically is saying that he wants a dollar for dollar UF tariff. He wants to help affected workers. Here you go with the word workers again. Same word that is the same word that Mark Carney used, same word as Jagmeet Singh used, and now Pierre Poilievre is saying the same thing. Help affected workers and businesses with tariff revenues. So he's basically talking about a UBI here. He's talking about something that will help Canadians deal with tariffs. Bring it a home tax cut. Sure. Scrap the liberal anti-energy law C-69. Remove interprovincial trade barriers and rebuild our military and take back control of our borders. Okay, sure. Tell me what's the difference between Mark Carney, dollar for dollar. This is insane. It's hard to believe, but this is Pierre Poilievre's account on X. It's his face that's on it. Our common sense plan. You're basically repackaging exactly what Mark Carney is saying. You're using the same word as him, dollar for dollar US tariff, and you're also saying that we need to help affected workers and businesses with tariff revenue. So he's basically saying the exact same thing as Mark Carney and as fucking Jadming Singh saying that we're going to use your taxpayers' money that we're going to tax you on for buying American goods, and we're going to give it back to you afterwards. So we're basically turning you into a dependent of the state. That is basically what they're saying, instead of going to fucking all they have to do, instead of doing all this shit, they could simply jump on a plane, go down to the US, go talk to Trump, find people that have common interest. What is it going to take? But you know, they're politicians. So at the end of the day, I don't like politicians. I don't trust politicians. To me, they're all corrupt to a certain extent. Some more, some less. But at the end of the day, guys, they work for us. What bothers me is not even that message. What bothers me is that I will expose this message like we did today, and I'm the one that's being told that I'm vote splitting. Are you fucking kidding me? He's saying it himself. He literally repackaged the words of Mark Carney, dollar for dollar US tariff, and help affected workers and businesses with tariff revenues. This is exactly what Mark Carney said. This is exactly what Jagmeet Singh said. And now Pierre Poilievre, that's supposed to be a conservative, is saying the same thing. How can you deny the fact that we have a uni party in Canada? The facts are right there. It doesn't even matter that they're fucking liberal or conservative anymore. And even on the provincial level, you have a guy like Doug Ford that's agreeing with this shit that he's supposed to be a conservative. And now Daniel Smith, somebody that I absolutely supported, is starting to push back by not buying American goods. Are you fucking kidding me? What is it gonna take for you Canadians to wake the fuck up?
Well, I mean,
I'm tired of this shit, bro, man. No, but it blows my mind. I cannot believe. I'm sorry, man. It's just I love this country. I love Canada. I don't want this country to be destroyed.
No,
I don't want
brother,
to be down the drain.
I mean,
20 years.
Clearly it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
People don't realize they're not making a big deal out of this, and it should be. This should worry every single fucking Canadian out there. If this doesn't worry you, research it, please. Go check what we're talking about. This should scare the shit out of you. This shit keeps me up at night. Ever since this week, ever since this came into play, I feel like shit and I can't fucking sleep, because this is no fucking joke. This is how we install a fucking communist government. Do you guys not get this? This is Marxism 101 right there. Blame somebody else for the same actions that you're taking. Blame Trump for what he's doing when you're the one destroying your country. That's called Marx 101. Learn your fucking history. This is how communist countries like China became communist, with that type of bullshit. Blaming other people for our problems instead of taking accountability. But the thing is that you Canadians, you and I can do something about this. I hope we can keep it civil. I hope we can. But how much is it going to take for you guys to wake the fuck up, to realize that this will directly kill people? 23% of Canadians cannot afford daily necessities right now. And we're going to have 25% tariffs going on, plus a raise in carbon tax on April 1st. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's what I was like. Even like fucking Poilievre didn't even say anything about the carbon tax. Like, that's the low hanging fruit if you're conservative. He didn't even mention it.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I was just gonna.
I didn't even notice that. You're bang on, bros. Man, good fucking point. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, they didn't even say anything about the carbon tax. Like that you're a conservative. That is the low hanging fucking fruit. But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like a lot of people share your frustration. You know, like it's that sort of pulling your hair out feeling, and you know, we don't. I
don't have much left, bro.
We don't have left to pull out, so someone's got to take over from here. I just sent on the WhatsApp the link that Kami was talking about, but apparently Mexico got a deal with USMCA. So they're not going to have tariffs on all their goods that are connected to the USMCA, which is, I believe that's the trade agreement that Donald Trump negotiated in 2017. Is that not?
Yeah, the equivalent of our NAFTA.
Yeah,
the equivalent of our NAFTA, I guess.
But that's huge because that's a lot of goods. So if you're a Canadian right now, the Canadian leader, you need to be asking yourself, well, what the fuck did they do? How did they? Because if you can get that deal, then that is That's a huge thing.
And this is brand new, bro. This is from 0326. Man,
Just
it's
happened.
from it's
Just happened.
11:30 a.m. this morning. I don't know which time frame they're in, if he's in Washington Eastern time. So this is basically not even an hour ago.
Yeah. And so here it says, look, and this is interesting. He says,
But let's read it. Do you want to read it? You want
Yeah,
me to read it?
got it.
Because for the people that are listening to this.
all right. So yeah, if you're not watching here and you can't read, so Donald Trump said, after speaking with President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico, I've agreed that Mexico will not be required to pay tariffs on anything that follows under the USMCA agreement, which is essentially the renegotiated NAFTA, which means it covers almost all products. This agreement is until
USMCA, US, Mexico, Canada. That's probably
right.
what the abbreviation is there.
That's right.
Sorry.
Yeah. This agreement is in place until April 2nd. I did this as an accommodation and out of respect for President Sheinbaum. So he inserts his personal politics into these politics, and understanding that you can say that's wrong or he shouldn't do it. The fact of the matter is he does do it. So now how does that's why it's so stupid to be like that idiot out from Manitoba out there laughing in his face. Like, he's not going to do these things if he feels he's been disrespected. Our relationship has been a very good one, he continues, and we are working hard together on the border, both in terms of stopping illegal aliens from entering the United States and likewise stopping fentanyl. Thank you to President Sheinbaum for your hard work and cooperation. So there's deals to be done. Now the pressure's on our leaders. Where's your deal? Where's our deal? Because clearly he's willing to cut a deal. If they're not down there right now, they need to be on the phone with Sheinbaum and ask her what the fuck they did. What did she do? How did you get this done? Because, I mean, man, if Mexico gets out of this, and yes, it's only until April 2nd, but that's how it works. You take what you can get. If he only gets you till April 2nd, you take it, and then you work to make it permanent. And if it doesn't, then, you do what you have to do. But where's the leadership? We're too busy up here, tearing American liquor bottles off our shelves and making fun of Donald Trump, which, yeah, maybe it feels nice. It doesn't help us at all. You know what helps? Getting rid of the fucking tariffs or exempting all the products from the USMCA. Mexico's got that. So where is our leaders? Where are they right now?
I'm going to ask that simple question. I'm retweeting this on X, and all I'm going to say at Justin Trudeau, how is it that Mexico made a deal, but you can't? At Pierre Poliev, at Mark Carney, at Ford Nation, and at AB Daniel Smith. What the fuck are you guys waiting for? Like, but this is insane. Like, how is it that Mexico could make a deal, but you can't?
I mean, no shade on Mexico, but like, if they can make a deal, Canada should be able to. In fact, you might even go so far as to say the only reason we wouldn't make a deal is if for some reason we don't want to. And this is back all to what we talked about at the beginning of the show. Fellas, the evidence is piling up. I don't want to have to wear this hat. I'm not conspiracy minded. Don't force me to wear it. But like, I still have eyeballs. I still got common sense. If you keep acting like a duck and sounding like a duck and walking like a duck, at some point I'm going to say, you know what? That's a duck.
And brother, it's at live. It's gone worse. Since we started the show, it's gone worse. What I showed you earlier, it got worse now with that post right there that happened while, and thank you, by the way, Commie Hunger Games.
Yeah, that was a great find.
Here. Thank you, because I try to keep up to date with everything that's going at the same time as I'm actually in this show. So it's not the easiest thing to do, but thank you, because this was a perfect find that just happened, but it kind of goes to prove my point from the get-go. It is extremely hard for me to believe right now that there is not an agenda to hook people on government funding careers. Like it's hard for me to believe that we're not trying to have people to destroy the economy even further so that people are even more indebted to the government, like big daddy state at this point. This is big brother. They want to, it seems like they want to be involved in every single aspect of your life. How can you debate this now? Like that Mexico deal right there seals the coffin. Like this proves my fucking point. I do not even need, fuck my hat, I'm not wearing it, because this proves to me that there is a reason why Trudeau is being such a little bitch right now, that he's not trying to make this deal because he does not care, and he's trying to push something that will be very bad for Canadians. Because clearly, like I said at the beginning, and like I said on my post this morning, he's open to negotiation. Why are we not negotiating? Mexico once again proved to us, because they did it last time too. Remember, he was trying to put tariffs unless they secured the border. What did they do? They secured the border. Trump's like, gone, no more tariffs. They did it again. Now they're 2-2. 2-2. So there is no reason. Can you know what? This is the question now. I'm going to ask you this, and I hope you guys can comment on this video, or you can comment, reach out to us and let us know what you think. But do you have enough proof to believe that there's a conspiracy in Canada right now by the Canadian politician to install UBI? Like, what more proof would you need from us to show you that this is not the plan, that there is not a conspiracy going on right now with Canadian politicians, both liberal, NDP, and conservative, that their goal is to push the globalist communist agenda that we've been talking about, that I've been talking about for years? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me there's not an agenda after everything that you saw today. That's that's my ask of you guys.
What I would say is, Canadian leaders, like, the ball's in your court. Prove us wrong here, right? Like, I'm still desperately trying to cling to the belief that our leaders have our interests at heart. But you guys you're making it awfully hard. You're making it very, very hard. And now with Mexico getting a deal, there's no excuse anymore. You can almost hear the disappointment in liberal, in the liberal war rooms, as they think, oh no, now we have to do something, or we'll see what they say. But if Canada doesn't have a similar deal by, I want to say tomorrow or maybe the day after, then the evidence is really piling up, fellas. And that like, there's no reason why Mexico should get, like, love Mexico. They're a great country, but we have a closer relationship with the United States historically. And if they can get the deal and we can't, then there's only one real explanation for that. And that's, we don't want it. And guys, prove us wrong. Prove me wrong here. Let's see what you got.
Guys, I normally try to finish the show with a funny video and a smile, but today I just don't want to. This is how, to me, serious this actually is. So no funny shit. We're just going to finish on a serious note, because it is serious. And that post is making it even worse. Like, this literally confirms everything that I was talking about, that we've been talking about all day. So guys, once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us with your precious time. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for, man, it's awesome to have you guys on. Absolutely love it. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. If you like this show, make sure to, you're able, if you're on Next right now, do you know that you can share our stream? You're actually capable of going on either of our pages, either at the Political Orphans, at Rob_the Builder, or at Real Nico Lagan. You can reshare this stream, because, man, this is a show that people need to be able to see that it exists, because people are not having this conversation right now. You don't see a lefty and a righty having those conversations, especially agreeing on this shit. Like, this is insane that we're actually doing this. So if you like this show, make sure to reshare the stream so that more people see it. And if you want to follow us, obviously I'm going to unshamefully plug us in there. If you want to follow Rob, at Rob_the Builder on X. If you want to follow the show, make sure to follow at the Political Orphans on X and YouTube. And if you want to follow me, at Real Nico Lagan on absolutely every single platform out there.
And just before we go, Prairie says, agree, Nico, we were in serious trouble. Again, Prairie, you're a regular, you've been a regular here for a little while. Love to see you every day. Beef on the bun. Thanks again for coming out. Kami, Hunger Games are here. New today, but she's already brought a lot to the table. Lots of engagement, bringing the links. Guys, as Nico said, really just to echo that, like you guys make the show for us. We really wouldn't be doing it without you guys, and that's why we do it live, because we love to have that engagement. We are trying to build a community here, not just a podcast. So we appreciate everything you guys coming in today. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate that. We will see you guys tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel as usual. Lots of big things coming up that are cooking in the background. Keep your eyes out for that, and we'll check you tomorrow.